Hey Clubhouse kids, so today we're going to be cooking in the kitchen. We're going to be cooking something kind of fun. A lot of you guys have asked to do slime. So since we want to do some cooking and we like slime, we're going to make edible slime. So the ingredients you need, just 3 simple ingredients you may already have in your home. You need that box of cornstarch. So you're going to need 1 cup of cornstarch. All right, 1 cup of cornstarch. You're going to need a 3-ounce box of Jell-O mix, right? And you can make pudding Jell-O, but that I think the cornstarch ratio might be a little bit different with that one. So today I'm just using regular Jell-O gelatin mix, and so you're going to need 1 box of that, 1 3-ounce box of Jell-O mix. All right, and you're going to need 1/2 cup of water. Now, if you're rummaging through your cabinets, you may actually find that you have a bigger 6-ounce box of Jell-O. So what you're going to do is you're just going to double the water and double the cornstarch, since you've already doubled your Jell-O mix. So instead of 1 cup of cornstarch with the 6-ounce box, you would have 2 cups, right? And instead of having 1/2 cup of warm water for the 6-ounce box, you would have to have 1/2 and 1/2 makes, that's right, 1 whole cup. So that's just a quick recipe if you wanted to do the 6-ounce box. So today we're going to do the 3-ounce box. And remember I said we needed 1 cup of cornstarch. Well, this box is kind of small, so I'm going to use my 1/4. So how many fourths do I need to make 1 whole? So if we're not quite sure, we'll start adding together. All right. So I'm going to come on in here, and I've got 1/4. Oh, before we really begin, the first thing that you should have done, especially since we'll be working with our hands and you're going to be wanting to play with Play-Doh, is make sure that you've washed your hands really well and dried them really well. You're going to want a bowl, the measuring cup of course, and probably a nice clean surface that you can play with your edible slime. So I'm using a cutting board because I know that that's clean. All right, so I'm adding my 1/4, all right? Not quite a whole yet, so a 1/4 plus another 1/4, so a 1/4 plus another 1/4 makes, I'm going to shake off the excess and kind of scrape it against the box. That way I get a nice leveled, see how it's leveled, it's sticking down, leveled thing of cornstarch. So 1/4 and 1/4 makes 2/4. All right. And if we add another 1/4, another 1/4 would be 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. That'd be 3/4. Not quite there. And let's get another scoop. It's quite large here, so I'm just going to scrape it inside that box there. So I want to nice and give it a little shake, get all that excess cornstarch off. See how nice and flat that is? There we go. All right, so I have 3/4 and 1 more 1/4 makes 4/4, or we could say 1 whole or 1 cup. All right, now I need to take my Jell-O and open that package up. I chose green Jell-O, but you can choose any type of Jell-O you want. So remember, we have done 1 cup of cornstarch. Now we are doing 1 3-ounce pack of Jell-O. All right, I'm going to open it over the bowl so it doesn't explode everywhere. And I'm going to pour that in. And my next thing I want to do is I want to mix it really well together. So I'm going to grab a spatula here. And I'm going to mix it really well. So I want to make sure that all that Jell-O and all that cornstarch kind of combine together. Once you get that all kind of mixed in really well, And if you had red Jell-O, you'll be able to see a little bit better, but the green is very light. So I've got that mixed pretty well. Ooh, making a mess. All right, now the next step is to pour in 1/2 cup of water, but you're not going to pour the half cup all at once. So we need to half our half. So half of a half, that's right, would be 1/4. So we're going to pour in 1/4 cup of the warm water. And then we're going to mix it. And it doesn't need to be quite exact. I'm going to look. Just a little bit more. All right. And now it's going to be kind of lumpy and bumpy as we stir, but go ahead and stir that. I'm going to show you as I go in here. All right. It's going to be kind of hard and clumpy, which is okay, but I really got to work that cornstarch and water together. And I might even choose to switch to a fork. It might be easier, but I'm going to give this a little bit longer of a go. Keep turning it. It smells good. I think the green Jell-O is lime. And so I'm going to show you what it kind of looks like now. Kind of lumpy. All right. And I'm going to kind of smush it and try to work all that cornstarch into that water and all that Jell-O into the water. All right. I'm going to keep mixing it and then maybe kind of smushing it down a little bit as I turn it. That way I'm really kind of getting the lumps out best I can. So I'm kind of smushing. Wish I had a better camera. Better smushing. And then I'm kind of stirring it up. All right. So I'm going to keep going just a little bit longer. I'm going to try to work out all those big lumps by pushing and stirring, pushing and stirring. Not everything is always easy, so keep practicing at it. Try to, if you're kind of a messy cook, maybe using a larger bowl that has higher sides up. That way all the cornstarch won't escape like it just did on there. I probably should have used a bigger bowl. All right, so the next step after that is to use our hands to mix. And now, oh, I got a piece of dog hair in there, and we definitely don't want that. Our next step is to add the water, but now we're going to mix with our hands. All right, so I'm going to pull my sleeves up. Here we go. And I'm going to pour the rest of it in, kind of sprinkling it all over the slime dough. All right, I'm going to remove my wedding ring real quick because I don't want that in. All right, so I'm going to use my hands. See, it's kind of watery and runny. All right, I'm going to use my hands now to work that slime. And remember, nothing is always that easy, so you kind of got to work it around a little bit. This is kind of fun. This is definitely something you can do on your own. Maybe having your parents in the kitchen if you need a little help. But I think that this is a very manageable project. You'll need not very much supervision, unless you really like to work with your parents. I know my kids, when they were younger, loved to cook with me. I think that they like to lick the batter, and who doesn't? All right, so it's kind of starting to come together, but it's kind of not quite there. So I'm going to keep on working it. All right. I'm going to push it in, push my hand down really hard on it, and then I'm going to try to get all the wetness that I can out of it, right? Then I'm going to take this lump, remove that, and I'm going to scooch it over this way. And I've got a lump. It's still kind of wet looking, but I've got another lump in here that I'm going to combine with. All right. right, so I got the rest of that out, and I'm going to try to work it. Sorry guys, I would move the camera past these things, but the windows create too much of a glare for the camera. So I've got to work it this way today. Right? And if you just keep working it, it's going to be a little bit crumbly, and we'll keep working it, and maybe we might need to pinch more of water, and if that needs to happen, that's fine. It's not going to be super slimy like the regular slime that you use borax, but we could make it a little bit wetter because I'm feeling this isn't quite slimish. So I'm going to go get a little bit more water. And then I got about, well, what's half of a fourth. Right, we remember we just doubled the denominator, and the bottom number. So double 4 is 8. Remember, as you use fractions, the bigger the number on the bottom, the smaller the fraction gets. Right, you're sharing just a little bit less. So I didn't pour all of that 1/8 in there. Just did a little bit, just to see how it goes. And I put the slime back in the bowl just because I think it's going to be easier to. Now, if you pour too much water in after a while and you decide that that is way too sticky, you could try adding maybe a teaspoon at a time of cornstarch back in to make it a little thicker. That's kind of the job of cornstarch, to gather water, make things a little bit thicker. Well, I think this is working out a little bit better. And with slime, it's okay to play with and make it the consistency you want. So if you want it runnier, of course you're going to add more water. If you want it more Play-Doh-like, right, then you're just going to leave it like the original recipe had. All right, so I think I did a pretty good job at getting this all stirred in. It's a little bit more Play-Doh-like, so remember, if I wanted it more like running through my fingers, ooey gooey, all I need to do is add more water. Right. But now I can kind of play with it and shape it and make fun things out of it. Right? Maybe if you have special permission, you can make a couple different flavors of it. Make a rainbow or a snake. And most importantly, you can take a bite of it. I'm just going to take a little bit. I probably wouldn't eat all of it at once. That probably wouldn't be a great idea. I'm not sure how tasty it is, but it's kind of a fun alternative to making the regular slime to do. We got a cooking in, we did a little math, and now we get to eat a little bit of slime. It's very limey. It's probably not something that I would eat all the time, but I'm sure that you will enjoy it. So until our next video, it was fun cooking with you. Bye.